Hi everyone, Xavier here. Welcome back to the channel. Today is the day we're going to finally go over the results of how much the movie collection was worth. I'll lay some ground rules in terms of how I got the value and some disclaimers. I got the value of each individual. I said that each individual movie through Amazon.com, or if I couldn't find any information on Amazon, I go to Blu-ray.com. Now, the thing is with these values, there's a lot of factors as to what the value is. Of course, these movies that I have are not new since they are unwrapped and have been used. So I try to use the used value. Now, sometimes though, they don't, these websites don't exactly say, how much it would be worth compared to a new film, which is a used but still very, good condition film. There's also the fact that I'm not taking into account what third party like stores would do. Like for example, there's a lot of used movie stores that if you give it, you'll try to put a movie out there and they will say, oh yes, it's a few dollars. That's their policy. That's not in general. The idea of how I value these movies is if say you're taking the movie as a whole account, not just okay, it's on Blu-ray, it's on DVD, etc. Um, and sometimes those stores would actually do it depending on what the format is and what if it's a very rare movie or anything like that. But with that said, that is sort of the ground rules for how I got the value of each of these movies. And yeah, so I mentioned in a community post, I couldn't do a stream of it because for some reason my computer is not able to do that. And my phone, for some reason, is not able to do it because I need 50 subscribers for some reason. I don't know why, but point was I couldn't really do a stream of doing everything like that. But we're just gonna cut to the chase here. I will try to do a few shorts to try to go more some of the valued films, but in general, I'll just go over the most valued, least valued from the sections. So I got a list here, which I mean you can't really see, but I can see. When it comes to DVDs, the total amount of all the DVDs in my collection is $101.94. $101.94. The most valued DVD was Suyashe, which, if you don't know, was the Indonesian Wonder Woman movie that I made a short about earlier in the year. Like that, and it's $32.12. There's a reason why. It's because it's a new release. It is from Shout Factory. So, and also Shout Factory tends to be a bit more valued in terms of the pricing. Um, the second most valued would be the Leprechaun Collection, which makes sense. It's 8 movies in one. Um, and the third was My Name is Bruce at $14, which is about as high as you can get for a regular DVD that is not like new or anything. The lowest amount for a DVD was Garfield at $1.24, and I would say Be Kind Rewind at $2. Um, I'm not gonna go over all the movies, so like I'm just gonna go for most valued, least valued. But yeah, all in general, the DVD movies were like $101.94. And you think, oh, that's a lot? Trust me, you can't, wait until I hear this. So now we go into the Blu-rays. I'll start with the cheapest Blu-ray, and that is Open Season with $2.95. There are a few that are below the $10 range, depending on I guess it's depending on how much they were mass produced. I don't want to get to all of them because, that'll take forever. The cheapest though was Open Season. That was just $2.95. Um, as for the most expensive, we got a little bit of like looseness. The steelbooks of those Studio Ghibli films were around 30, in the mid 30s, which makes sense. There's collective steelbooks. These are Studio Ghibli films, very high valued. Um, the most expensive in the collection was the Seki K TV series, the first season on Blu-ray, at $66.92, which I was surprised because that's not how much it costed me. I think it was like $40 when I got it. It got up since then. The second is, I believe, let me just see something over here. Um, um, oh, actually, I didn't know. I actually made a little mistake here. I have to just do something. The second most valued Blu-ray is The Room. You know, Tommy Wiseau's The Room. That costs $57.64. I believe that's because the Room Blu-ray is very limited in terms of where you can get it. I got it at the Mayfair Theater, which is a very popular theater for them to play The Room like every month. So I believe that the Room Blu-rays can only be found in select areas. You can't just find it on Amazon. It's really like limited. So I assume that's why it's $57. I didn't get it for that much. I think I got it like for 35 when it was there, but still, I'm very happy that it's pretty high valued. Um, and the third most valued is Metropolis on Kino Lorber, the complete Metropolis at $52.82. Again, because it is Kino Lorber, as well as the fact it is a very high valued item, um, with the fact that that it's been out of print and all that stuff. Altogether, all the Blu-rays, which again I'm only going a few over, the Blu-ray section of the collection is worth $1,272.41. I'll put another disclaimer here. These values can go up and down depending on, of course, the quality of the film, and not if it's good or not, but in terms of like the DVDs and everything, as well as the fact that if they are out of print, or there's a million copies out there. So maybe a movie that you think was probably worth higher may not be anymore when a new edition comes out, vice versa. So yeah, so over 1,272 for the Blu-ray section. As for the 4Ks, I just have to find them here because I made an entire list. The cheapest 4K, I believe, I just have to make sure I got it correct. Yeah, so the cheapest 4K is Jumanji, The Next Level, at $6.99. I kind of understand that. The Jumanji Welcome to Jungle and Next Level, as well as the Venom movies, tend to be on the lower side of the 4K value because Sony likes to pump out these movies. They love pumping out their 4K movies from their company, which I think devalues them over time. So for Jumanji Next Level, for example, $6.99, currently the most devalued in my collection, at least. It's not I don't know about the cheapest 4K out there because I don't know what it is. It's just in my collection that is the cheapest one. And as an individual film. As for the most expensive, as for the cheapest steelbook, now the steelbooks were always very tricky to calculate because the steelbooks are limited editions to begin with. Not everyone's going to get them, and depending on how old they are, it could be higher, it could be lower, as well as the company. Like, for example, I found, Frankenstein, the steelbook was like $70, but Dracula was like $40. It's weird because they're like the same company and came out at the same time. I didn't put them into account with the pricing because it didn't really, how would you say, like, I couldn't tell if that was true or not. If the what they were asking for was legit. So I just kind of took a base estimate that they're around $50. So for the most part, the steelbooks were. That also means that the Running Man steelbook was also like around $40, $50, which I paid around the same amount for that. So that's the thing. For the most part, the steelbooks aren't super high valued. As for the lowest costing steelbook, that is Terminator Dark Fate's steelbook, which makes sense. It's not a good design for the steelbook. It's also Terminator Dark Fate, which a lot of people do not like. In fact, it's really easy to find that steelbook compared to like the actual standard edition of the movie, which, if you love steelbooks, that actually is pretty good for you. But it costs $22.99 compared to the average like $40, $50 steelbook. As for what is currently the most expensive steelbook is the Army of Darkness steelbook, funny enough. Shout Factory actually tends to have higher valued steelbooks because I think they're more limited in copies and everything. So Army of Darkness was $53.80. And second up from that was actually Willy's Wonderland the Willy Wonderland Steelbook I just got for $46.90. Granted, that is still new, but even used, it's just not that big of a dip of price. Um, in terms of the most valued single movie, like not Steelbook, just the movie by itself, is Super Mario Brothers, the live action film, for about $69.99. There's no actual, like, I could try to look up on Australia and everything like that, because in Canada it doesn't. There's no way to get the movie unless you import it, which I did from a store that is in the city, and it's very pricey to do that. And the way that the Australia's 4Ks tend to be higher valued because they tend to be only in Australia. Maybe one day this will devalue, but as of now, it is about $70 for the 4K, which is good for me because it's high value. As for collections, I'll start with the second most expensive, which is Conan Chronicles, the two Conan movies in that Arrow video collection, for $107.77. Which I think is a bit higher than what it is right now, but that's good. Value increased. And as for the most expensive, 4K thing in the collection, as well as just in general, the most expensive thing in my collection right now, I don't think it's really a tough guess. It is the Evil Dead Groovy Collection for $170.09. And if you want to ask how much I got it for, it was like $120. So it actually increased value, which I'm happy for because I love that Evil Dead collection, the Groovy collection up over there. So I'm kind of happy for that. In total, the 4Ks, and that's the thing, like an average, they're like, they go over the place in terms of, how rare they are and everything. But in altogether, the 4Ks costs are valued $6,903.24, which I mean is pretty obvious. 4Ks are the most expensive format. You can get the most quality out of the entire film with the 4K discs, so it makes sense even if they're used. The collection in general, you add into the DVDs, you add into the Blu-rays and the 4Ks. The entire cost is about, which again can fluctuate depending on the value of the quality of the movie and how much prints they have and the additions and everything like that. The value of the entire collection is about $8,277.59, which I'm surprised by. Now, keep in mind that doesn't mean I spent $8,000 for the entire collection, because I got some of these movies very cheap. I got some of these movies for the market price. In fact, if I would have to say, I think maybe I spent around 25%, about that, 25% less than what the price was. I probably spent thousands on the collection for sure, but not 8,000. I would, that would be very shocking, but I don't think that's the case considering a lot of the deals that I got for a lot of my movies. But overall, I was very surprised by the result. And keep in mind, these are around almost 400 movies in general, and that's the thing. You may wonder how come I'm probably one of the few people who actually took their day out to try to calculate the value. It's because I have a little, I don't have 1,000 movies in a collection. There's a lot, the big channels, they do that because they have thousands of movies. They're not going to take 2 days or something to look up every movie in their collection to see what the value is. For me, I only have 400, which a lot of them are in collections, which you might say that is a lot. But you can see the shelf. It's not huge. It's not, oh my God, I have to go over everything and pull everything out and put everything back. It'll be annoying. So that's why a lot of these bigger channels do not do the value game. I would like to see them do it one day, but I think that'll just be much of a headache for them. But for me, for about the amount of movies I have is 396. If you look at my lower box, 396 movies of different formats all equal out to about $8,277. Um, Honestly, pretty solid. But yeah, that's really about it. As for the shorts that I would probably post, I'll probably do like a top five valued or top five least valued, over the next few weeks or so. More of a side thing. They're not going to be super like I'm going to completely devote to just doing a bunch of shorts about the value collection because I think you got all the results here. You know what's the least valued, at least in terms of the extreme, and you know what is the most valued, and you know how much this collection's worth. Which I will definitely make a bit a short form for just people who want the quick answer, which is the $8,277. But with that said, after those shorts, I will put out not after those shorts. In fact, after this video, soon enough, I will put out an update video of what to expect from this channel going forward into the year, which might be some good, some bad news, but we will discuss it in the next upload. So thanks for joining me today. Very glad I managed to do all these collection videos and found the results of how much it was. And I hope you have a nice day. Thank you very much.